What is good, people? It's the Romsky back with another JavaScript tutorial video. And in this video, we are going to talk about expressions, arithmetic expressions, that is. You can see I have my example2.html page open. This is the basic structure, and you notice there's really nothing in the body, so there's nothing that we are going. I actually could get rid of these script tags. They're not going to do anything. The only thing we have here is in the head we have a script tag that points to example2.js. So you see that I have that open over here. And let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at it. First thing I want to discuss is, in the last video I kind of went over comments. There are actually two different types of comments in JavaScript. There's this block comment where you could go over multiple lines, as it says here. You start off with a forward slash and then an asterisk, and then you don't have to put an asterisk for each line. I just do because it's just a habit that I have. But what you do need is you do need the forward slash, the asterisk, and then another asterisk and a forward slash just to end it. And you could go over multiple lines, and anything in between line 6 and line 13 will be a comment. It won't be read by the JavaScript parser. So next thing I want to discuss is how we're actually going to display our results in our page. We're actually not going to display them in our page through the HTML page in the body tags. We're actually going to display them a different way, and that's by using this console.log function. Console is actually the development console for a browser. So, for example, I'm using the development console for Google Chrome. Or to access that, you click the three dots up in the top right hand corner, go to More Tools, and then hit Developer Tools. Mine was open, so it just closed. So if I hit that again, I will see the console appear. Now, whatever you put in between the parentheses here, log is a function of console. We'll get into, well, it's actually a method of console. So we'll actually get into functions in a couple more videos. But whatever you put in within the parentheses is what's going to output to the console. So in here I have a string, and we'll discuss strings towards the end of the video with hello exclamation point. So if I go back to the Chrome, you can see that that's being outputted to the console. Okay, so we'll go ahead and comment that out. So I talked about block comments. There's also single line comments, and that is just 2 forward slashes, and that will comment it out. So now this statement will not be read by the browser. Next thing I want to discuss is variables and how to assign them. So right here we have a variable x, and the assignment operator is the equal sign, and it's equal to 5. And then remember, we terminate our statements with a semicolon. So x equals 5. Whenever we declare a variable, we're going to use the keyword var. So var x equals 5. Once again, we're putting spaces in there. Remember, JavaScript doesn't read white space, but we could do that. But we're not going to do that because of readability. We want to put spaces in between the x, the equal sign, and 5. We also have another variable y equals 10. And then we have, this is a little different, we have a variable called result, and it's not actually instance to anything. We're not setting it directly. So when we do that, if I uncomment this line here, and we're going to output x, and then we're going to output the result. You can see by my comment it's going to be undefined. So if I save this file and rerun this, remember you can refresh the page by hitting F5. I also recommend doing Control F5 because that refreshes the cache. So if we do that, we see x equals 5. As you can see here, it equals 5. And then we also have result equals undefined. So if you don't instantiate a variable, it will be undefined. One other thing I want to point out here is that you'll notice that my number here is blue. I don't know if you can see that. And then my result value colon undefined is black. Whenever we have a string and we add it to something that's undefined, it's going to come back as a string. Whenever we have, and you'll see this here in a second, whenever we have a string and we add it to a number, so we're basically this is called concatenation, and we'll discuss that here in a little bit. But whenever you combine a string to a number, the result is a string. So you'll see here in a second. Let's go ahead and discuss some of the expressions that you could do in JavaScript. So we'll go ahead and we'll uncomment all the way to right here. Crap. Actually, we don't need that. We don't need that. There we go. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll comment these out too. So one expression you could do addition. So result equals x plus 5. Earlier, remember, we assigned x to 5 and y to 10. Keep that in mind. And we're setting the result equal to x plus y. So that would be 5 plus 10. And when we do that, we should get 15. So if I go ahead and I refresh my page, here it is. The result of x plus y is 15. So that's good. So we have addition. We can also do subtraction. So result y minus x. Remember, y is 10 minus 5. So the result is going to be 5. If we look back at our console, we can see y minus x is 5. We could do division. So y divided by x. This is the division symbol. That would be 10 divided by 5, which should be 2. And we have it right here. We can also do multiplication. X times y. If we do that, we should get 50. So that's here, right? And then here, I'm actually throwing a curveball at you guys. I'm going to go ahead and change the variable of y. You notice that it doesn't have the var keyword. That's because I am going to go ahead and I'm going to change the value of y from 10 to 11. So when JavaScript gets to line 36, y will now be 11. And this symbol right here is called some people call it the modulus, but it actually gives you a remainder. So when you do y percentage times x, it's going to give you what's left over after you divide these two. So if this is 11, this is 5, how many times does 5 go into 11 perfectly? Not 3, because 5 times 3 is 15, that goes over. So it'd be 2 with a remainder of 1. The result would be 1. It wants the remainder of 5 divided by 11. So if I look at that, y divided by x is 1. The remainder of 11 divided by 5 is 1. So that's I don't find myself using the remainder all that often. You can use the modulus, we're going to go ahead and call it the modulus symbol, to find if something is divisible by 2 or if something's perfectly divisible by 4. You could use it that way. That would be a way I would use it, at least one way I could think of. These last two examples is to show you order of operations or order of precedence. In this example, let's say I wanted x plus 5 to be first. Well, according to order of operations, that won't happen from left to right because multiplication is actually first. So if you do need a refresher on your order of operations, go ahead and search that up. But multiplication comes before addition. So if we do this result, remember y is now 11. X is still 5. If we look at the console, the result is 60. So that's because it's taking 5 times 55 plus 5, which equals 50. So it does the multiplication first, and then it will do the addition. We could change that by using parentheses as always, and if we wanted x plus 5 to be first, all we have to do is put parentheses around it. So if we do x plus 5 now, that's 10 times 11, that's 110. So you can see that down at the bottom here. So those are some basic examples of of the expressions you could use, just to go over addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and then modulus. Those are some of the examples, and they could get very in-depth. Okay, so the next thing I want to discuss, we're going to go ahead and comment this out. So I want to talk about incrementing and decrementing variables. So what we have here is we have another variable a, and I want to store x plus plus. So the plus plus is basically this right here. It's x equals x plus 1. X plus plus is just the shorthand operator that I use. We could have easily did x plus 1, and still we would have gotten the same result. But what we're doing here is we're going to sign the variable a equal to x plus plus. Now, where the plus plus falls is very important. So we're basically saying that a is equal to x before it gets incremented. So remember, x is 5. I'll just put that up here so we remember. It's plus 1. And still, we would have gotten the same result. But what we're doing here is we're going to sign the variable a equal to x plus plus. Now, where the plus plus falls is very important. So we're basically saying that a is equal to x before it gets incremented. So remember, x is 5. I'll just put that up here so we remember. X equals 5. If I run this, we're going to see what the variable of a is after post increment x. So that's what this is. We're post increment x. We're going to see what a is, and then we're going to see what x is, because x will change as well. So if I look at the console, refresh the page, variable a after post increment is 5. So what JavaScript did was JavaScript assigned the variable of a to x first, and then it incremented x. So you can see that x is now 6. Well, let's say that we wanted x to be incremented and then assigned to a. Well, we could do that easily, so let's go ahead and comment this back out and uncomment this. And this one, we're pre-incrementing x. So we're going to increment x first, and then we're going to assign it to a. So if I run this, the result should be 6 for both a and x. Oh, whoops, b is not defined. B should be defined. So variable b. So we changed the variable. I forgot about that. Anyways. So variable a after pre-increment x is 6. Variable x is 6. So in this example, we are going to increment x before we assign it to b. In this example, we are going to assign x first, and then we're going to increment x. Now increment is not the only thing. We could decrement the value as well. So it's pretty similar to increment. In this example, you could probably already guess. We're going to assign the variable a to x first, and then we're going to decrement x. So if x is 5, and here's the actual long version of what we're actually doing. X equals x minus 1. So if we decrement x here, we're going to say x equals 5, and then actually a equals 5 and x equals 4. So this example, remember, we are assigning the variable a to x first, and then we are decrementing the value of x. If we were to pre-decrement the x value, we would actually get 4 for a and 4 for x. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to decrement the x value and then assign it to a. So if we were to run this, we should get 4 for a and x. So variable a is 4, variable x is 4 as well. So that is a little something on increment and decrement. Now let's go over shorthand operators. Now you've already seen examples of shorthand operators. X++ is a shorthand operator. Um, so if I were to uncomment this example here that we have X. I'm changing the value of X again. X equals 15 now. And if I say X plus equals 1, that is like saying X plus plus, or it's like saying X equals X plus 1. So what we're doing here is we're setting X equal to 15 plus 1. So if I were to look at the console, we can see that X equals 16 now. Likewise, if I were to go ahead and comment this back out, and I want to see the shorthand, if I want to add 5 to X, I could say X plus equals 5, which in turn X equals X plus 5. Now you may be wondering like how this actually works here. X equals X plus 5, but if X is 15, wouldn't 15 go into X and the X is here and X is here and make it just undefined? Well, that's not exactly how JavaScript works. Remember, left side is the assignment, and it puts X into 15. So it will put X into 15, and then it will go ahead and assign X a new value. So if I look at the console now, X should be 20. And it actually does not equal 20 because I commented out in the wrong place. So X equals 15, there we go. And now X equals 20. So comment that out. We're not limited to just addition either. We could do this with subtraction. So if we have X minus equals 5, which in turn X equals X minus 5, we should get 10. And we do. Likewise for multiplication, X times equals 5. In other words, X equals X times 5, 15 times 5. If I were to make sure to save your file before you actually reload, otherwise it won't refresh. 75. We can do the same thing with division. X divided equals 5, i.e. X equals X divided by 5. That would equal 3. And once again, make sure to save your file before actually refreshing. 3. We can also do the same thing with the remainder symbol. So X remainder equals 2, which means X equals X remainder 2. Remember, X is 15. How many times does 2 go into 15 perfectly? That would be 7 times with a remainder of 1. So our answer would be 1. And once again, I have a problem with saving my file. X is 1. So that's a little something on shorthand operators. Just makes it for less typing. Remember, there's multiple ways that you can write out these expressions. Now, the last thing I want to discuss is on strings. We've been dealing with numbers so far, so let's talk about strings. We can set strings in a way like so. So if first name, remember we have lower camel case going on here, where the first letter is lowercase and the second letter is uppercase, and we set it equal to the string Jared. Now, how do I know it's a string? That's because the entire value is encapsulated in quotation marks. You could also set it with single quotation marks. It really doesn't matter. That would still be a string as well. So I have my variable first name equal to the string of Jared. And then I also have a variable last name equal to a string of Rummel. And then I have a final third variable, full name, first name plus, and then this is an empty string that just puts a space in between first name and then plus last name. So there's a space in between first name and last name. This is actually when we're talking about strings, we're not actually adding them together, we're concatenating them together. So the result, as you would expect, is going to be Jared Rummel. Now I also have my console.log. It has also a string called my name is, and that's concatenated to full name. So the result is, as you can expect, my name is Jared Rummel. And that is it for this video. In the next video, we are going to talk about number functions, and we're also going to talk about some string functions that you can use on these variables. So if you like this video, go ahead and drop a like on it. If you like what you see and you want to subscribe for future programming videos, go ahead and subscribe. And if you have any questions on programming or any comments on this video, then go ahead and drop a line down in the comments section. We'll see you guys in the next one.